There is a Wowhead post that is actually from a Blizzard forum post that says some information about these heat levels. Here's the TLDR. You're going to need to be soft capped to do level 3 for reasons, and for some reason they want you to be at 100 for the average mode, this level 2 mode. Sweltering Heat, which is supposed to be a looking for raid tier difficulty, there's no requirement. So you can either have no prep and pug it and kill everything on the easiest difficulty. You can do the medium difficulty, and then you're supposed to apparently have 100 for some reason. And if you want to do the highest, you're supposed to be at 226 or higher. So basically, soft cap. They mention in here that, and this is so funny, this is Blizzard not putting in a lot of effort. Some mechanics could leave you burnt to a crisp if you don't meet the required fire resistance requirements. That's a fucking weird sentence. So it seems there's some hint that there's some binary effects such that these don't exist in WoW normally, okay? There's not like binary resistance effects. Normally there's a continuum, and there's very few things that have breakpoints. But it seems like if you have less than 226, maybe there's going to be some mechanics that will always kill you. That's not normal in WoW. And then they go on to talk about potential issues with making there actually be fire resistance. Like here they say resistance and resistance fights have been contentious. And they talk about how, well, having resistance be a part of the game, it's cool because it means that you can prepare for raid. And then they bring up how it's kind of annoying that fairly quickly, however, more and more gear will drop in the raid that is optimal for you to be wearing and clearing, including tier sets, and they have some fire resistance. And the idea is that you want to be able to obtain gear that you want to wear. Now, honestly, I think that part I just read, it doesn't make sense. It just fucking doesn't make sense. Getting 226 resistance will require you to wear some goofy ass clown gear. Really quickly, let's look at my character on Era. I used to run a lot of GDKPs, and so I have a very good fire resistance set. I have 210 fire resistance, but look at this shit. Like, I have these gloves. That's going to be hard to get if they exist, or there's an equivalent. Same thing with this. What about my rings? This is the best stat roll you can get. 22 fucking FR. This ring would be probably like 5k gold on SoD. Okay, when I got it on Era, it was like 1k. Nowadays, I bet they're way more. I have the most expensive, best shit ever for fire resist, and I have like 210. And half my gear is FR gear. In SoD, like, what the hell you think's going to happen? You're going to have to wear an actual clown suit, in my opinion, to hit the resistance requirements if it works the way they say. And then they go on here to mention that there's a new boss, and they don't want to gatekeep rewards behind challenging content. This is smart. If you make it so that way bad players feel like they can't get rewarded, then they just don't play the fucking game. Even though everybody likes to say, oh, loot whores are bad people. Oh, I hate people who talk about loot a lot. You know what the reality is? That's 99.9% of WoW players. They wouldn't go to raid if they couldn't either get gear or a parse from it. That is seriously nearly everybody who plays the fucking game. Now, talking more about this actual change here, though, there's a new boss, and to be able to do this new final boss, you have to make sure that you killed every other boss in the dungeon on the highest difficulty. All right. And you're going to be able to swap what the current difficulty of the raid is whenever you want by walking out of the raid, or as mentioned up here, let me check Aqual Quintessences. You will also have the opportunity to swap the difficulty level with NPCs that spawn after using the Aqual Quintessence. So you're going to be able to go through this raid, try it on a high difficulty. If you decide it's not worth it, you can lower the difficulty. But if you kill any of the bosses on level 2 or level 1 difficulty, then you're not allowed to try the last boss. The last boss doesn't have super good gear. He has gear that drops from other things. It says in here, this boss will be tricky and require progression, blah, blah, blah. He will not drop unique or exclusive loot. That's a pretty good decision, I think, on their part. But overall, I can't wait to see how this heat stuff plays out. I think resistance, although interesting, is one of the stupidest fucking mechanics in this game. All right, think about how rare it was that people went to raid and their tanks actually had BIS FR pieces. And if your tank didn't, your chances of wiping on Firemaw were much higher. Or what about other resistance pieces? There's things like frost resistance on Saffron. How many people try to skate and they bring shit ass gear into Saffron, and it causes problems for their raids. And you know what? People get mad about it, and they decide not to have fun, because it's not fun doing the preparation like Blizzard talks about in this little post, going through all this work, doing a whole lot of preparation, and then having somebody else be a little bit underprepared and you lose your time. So I just think that if you actually need 226 fire resistance on just about everybody in your raid to complete these bosses on highest difficulty, phase 4 will flop. It will be terrible. It will be the worst phase yet. But let's see. I don't know. We'll know tomorrow. Maybe I'll look stupid. Peace, guys.